Falcons finish up preseason with a 31-13 loss to the Cowboys. Big story, Kaleb McGary expected to miss a significant amount of time, according to head coach Raheem Morris. Now, teams can put 2 players on the injury reserve with a designation to return when the rosters are cut to 53 players tomorrow. And if you do that, you're going to probably miss half the season. So
I think there's 2 different designated. There's one that's like 4 weeks and then one that's 10. You say significant, to me sounds like 10 or more. That means you're looking for a right tackle. I get it. Storm Norton will be back. Just say best case scenario is 6 weeks. You're talking a quarter of the season that he's gone. You can't afford, with these opening 4 games that are really tough, to have Elijah Wilkinson as your starting tackle. You just can't. If they roll with that, I really have to start questioning what they're doing. And I question because you signed a guy in Morgan Fox during the offseason, thought he was going to be part of your defensive tackle rotation. He's already been cut. You're going to have to eat a couple $100,000 for him going away in dead money. Either there's really good that the young guys have exceeded expectation and they feel good at the defensive tackle spot, or they signed a lemon. It's one or the other.
Well, cut down day tomorrow, so there will be a lot of veterans and free agents available. Who is worthy of the job? You don't want a cavalcade of guys protecting the blind side of Michael Penix Jr. So it is imperative with the first game coming up on September 7th, they figure out who is going to be the right tackle.
Yeah, it's kind of important to know who your right tackle is going to be. So
a little bit.
As I read about the IR situation, if you get put on it before the season starts and you don't designate him to come back, he'll miss the entire season.
Okay.
And you have up to, I believe it's 8 players can be listed and be able to come back. It's a minimum of 4 games, and then you move on after that to the different numbers.
So we'll see where that goes as we are a right tackle down. Now, the Ringer, I'm glad we got to the starting line of football because now we can get done with lists. But the Ringer has ranked every offense and defense in the NFL, and the Falcons come in 29th on defense. Now, this is the one that blew my mind. 19th ranked on offense.
All right, let's focus on the defense just for a second because there are so many unknowns outside of Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell and
Caden
Ellis.
Maybe Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, he's a 10-year vet, so you know what you're getting.
Right.
But it's not that exciting unless he shows up for 8 and 10 sacks again this year. So there's a lot of questions. There's 4 or 5 guys you mentioned. So there's 11 guys on the field, and there's an interior defensive line who just got rid and cut one of our big guys, big veterans that was a 300-pounder in Morgan Fox. So he's gone. Do you do something to replace him, or do you have one of the young guys that is on that roster already stay there? There's so many question marks on this defensive side of the ball. 29 seems low, but
it seems about where it should be. You got to prove to me that you're better than that. You lost your best interior defensive lineman and free agents, where you cut him in Grady Jarrett. You have a new defensive coordinator, which I think will be an upgrade. Jimmy Lake just wasn't ready for this job a year ago.
Not even close.
And Jeff Holbrook's been around and knows how to coordinate a defense. But my goodness, when you talk about who is starting at D-tackle, so it's David Onyemata and who?
Ruka Roro.
That's
correct.
Brandon Dorless.
Yep.
TQ Graham.
Yep.
Okay. Does that excite you?
It does not.
No.
I like some of the players. I like the upside, but they haven't shown us that they're, upper echelon caliber type NFL football players, especially on the defensive line.
We don't even know if they're NFL quality football players. Nevertheless, upper echelon.
The issue is,
true.
Usually when you have a class, you need 1 or 2 rookies to give you something. You may need all of your rookies to give you something. Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman Jr., they all might have to do a lot of something for the Falcons defense to be better than 29th.
Yeah, no doubt. So there's too many question marks to have a deep conversation about the defensive ranking. Offensively, it's a little different. You said they came in where?
19th.
That feels a little low.
The Las Vegas Raiders. And that's what offended me. They just lost a quarterback. Yeah.
Well, they got a quarterback. They got Geno Smith, so they're better at quarterback than they were a year
Who are
ago.
the wide receivers?
I have no earthly idea. Like, I'm going to the depth chart. Well, he's a tight end.
They got a tight end and a running back. And
so
rookie running
their
back.
starting receivers right now are listed as Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker. Not Chris Tucker, but Trey Tucker. I don't know a single one of their backups. Like Dante Thornton, Jack Beck, Alex Bachman. Who in the hell are those guys?
They're apparently better than Darnell Mooney and Drake London and Ray McLeod.
I don't know any of their offensive linemen either. Colton Miller. Well, I know Colton Miller.
You know.
That's
at UCLA?
I think so.
Well, that's the one thing that can't be. The offense cannot be inept.
Come on, man. The Raiders are not better than us.
There's a lot of value. I think they're probably being undervalued just because of some of the stuff going on. Obviously, at the quarterback position. I like our offensive line. I think our two guards are absolute meathead-loving football players that get after it. The center, if you can get that snap up a little bit, and Ryan Newsel, he can make that happen. And then Jake Matthews on the left side has been solid for over a decade. So now there's that one question mark on the right side of the offensive line. But outside of that, your skill positions are nothing but first rounders. They keep throwing at you, and Darnell Mooney mixed in there, who nobody wants to talk about because he hasn't done jack this preseason. He's been hurt at shoulder, diving for a ball early in training camp, and haven't seen him the entire time. So I hope to God he's healthy and ready to go, as Michael Penix told us he would be a couple weeks ago. And then you just got to hope and pray that Bijan stays healthy, Drake stays healthy, Kyle Pitts shows up and does some things that you expect him to do the last couple of years.
The Falcons were 6th in the NFL in rushing last year. Now, we didn't score a bunch of points, but they were able to run the football. So if you're looking to see another year of improvement from Bijan Robinson, it seems like the plan should be to run the football anyway. Maybe that'll help alleviate whatever is going on the right side of the offensive line until you figure out who's going to be there to be the protector of Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, the other thing that was bad last year, and we talked about it ad nauseum, was Kirk Cousins used play-action pass in this article, play-action, a league-low 14.2% of his pass plays last year.
Right.
He threw deep at a bottom 5 rate.
No.
So when you got Michael Penix in there, who showed you he's not afraid to kind of squeeze that ball down the middle like he did to Kyle Pitts for the game-tying touchdown in Washington, the bomb he threw down the sideline in the previous game in like a cover 2 honey hole, which a lot of quarterbacks ain't going to even attempt that throw, but he's got confidence in his arm to make that happen. And then hopefully Zach Robinson realizes you can't go into a football season and plan on being the worst play-action pass team in the NFL with a guy like Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier sitting behind you in an offensive line that does a nice job, run blocking. So use that to your advantage this year, up that percentage quite a bit, and hopefully you can take some shots downfield with Penix.
Well, hopefully he learned from last year, because last year, that first game, it was all pistol. It was all just straight drop back. You scored 10 points. Tampa's got names on defense, but they're not an elite defensive team. You marched up and down the field against them a year ago in both the games, and I get it. Kirk Cousins was the quarterback at that time. We've got the weapons to get things done. It's just a matter of now, did they iron everything out during these joint practices? Are they ready to roll after cutdown day tomorrow? Is somebody like Darnell Mooney going to be healthy? Ray McLeod's been banged up the last week of preseason. So we got to get guys ready to roll. And then the biggest question is, who the hell's going to be your right tackle? Who's going to be the guy that's protecting the blind side of Michael Penix? Do you have to adjust your game plan because you're basically, as of today, down to your 3rd right tackle? Does it mean more, keeping somebody like Charlie Warner in to help block? I also am fascinated how they're going to construct this roster. So it seems like they're only going to keep 3 running backs. They're probably only going to keep 3 tight ends, which means 6 receivers. Can you afford to have 6 receivers when you don't have a right tackle?
No, you cannot. And so now maybe you have to sacrifice your depth at wide receiver, hoping that, whatever you look at Kyle Pitts as, you'll be one guy short, but the production you're supposed to get from him will make up for it. So some decisions to be made by the Falcons. Cut down day tomorrow to trim the rosters down to 53.
So I'm looking at one of the projections on Falcons.com. They have them keeping 6 receivers, but this is where it's at. They only have 7 offensive linemen. You cannot enter an NFL season with 7 offensive linemen. 8 is minimum. A lot of teams will keep 9. Sometimes they'll even keep 10. I remember a game, I think it was in Minnesota, Teddy Bridgewater's first start. The Falcons were so banged up at O-line, Levine Toilolo ended up playing tackle. And it did not work out well. You had to keep extra guys in the entire time trying to get him to block defensive ends. That's why you don't have 7. You got to have 8 or 9 minimum on the offensive line.